I did it. It was me. I deleted all of my clients' footage on set at the end of the day. And as you can imagine, it was one of the most heart-dropping, intense moments of my career, and I couldn't believe what I had done. And in the interest of helping filmmakers like you, I want to talk through my thought process, how I overcome it, how I try to recover the data, so hopefully you don't make the same mistake, but if you do, this is how I would suggest handling it. And by the way, I'm red from sunburn, not because I'm still embarrassed about it. So you're probably thinking, Ross, how does that even happen? That's such a rookie mistake. You're stupid. Yes, I know. It was something I thought I'd never do either. Now, I was basically being cheap. These little USB-C to USB adapters are about 10 or 15 pound in the UK. And instead of buying 2 of them, I only had 1, which meant I had to back up the card onto my laptop before I could then plug in our external hard drive to back it up onto and start the transfer again. So it has to go from the card to the computer's hard drive and then back down this line to the actual external hard drive once it's finished backing up. Now, problem is, I've got a messy computer, so I didn't have enough hard drive space. So with the card plugged in, and you can probably see where this is going, I started deleting stuff on my computer. Now, it's also worth mentioning, there was about 70 gig of data, pictures and videos on this card, and I'm deleting stuff, I'm removing loads of things from my desktop, loads of old stuff from my downloads, just clearing the recycle bin, then came to open up the actual folder to make the transfer, and it said no items. And my heart instantly was like, oh no, I know what I've done. I've just managed to delete it. And then I was in denial. I was like, no, I can't have deleted it. It didn't ask me if I wanted to delete that many items. It didn't ask me anything. Maybe the card's corrupt. The card must be corrupt. That's the only logical expression, is I've plugged the card in and it's corrupt. So I take the card out, I pull it back into the camera just to see if there's any pictures there, and there's nothing. It's completely empty. There's no data. At this point, I'm starting to think, oh, this is really bad. Now, the client's just lining up the next interview for us to shoot. Luckily, I've got 2 cameras, but I'm starting to panic and thinking, what do I do? I'm up in Scotland at this point, so I'm nowhere near the studio. And the thought process started to set in of, oh my God, what have I actually done? How am I going to tell them? And this is the bit that I think is probably going to be the most valuable piece to other filmmakers. Isn't actually how to format your card and delete all the data on it, but is how do you handle that situation between you and the client? At what point do you tell them what you've done? Now, I had 2 options. The first option was go straight to the client and say, hey, I've made a huge mistake, I've deleted the card. Or maybe even play it off as, hey, the card has just been corrupted as I've plugged it into the camera, because you don't want them to think that you're really bad. I've just plugged it into the camera, it's corrupt, there's nothing I can do about it. I don't know how to handle this situation. And then they'll be being panicked as well. And I'm always a firm believer, if you have to come with a problem and a solution, no client's going to want to work with you if all you do is come up with problems all the time. We can't film this, we can't do that. They want, hey, we can't film outside because it's raining, but what we could do is we could film it this way in the hotel lobby, or whatever it is. You know, there's always a solution to every problem, and it's down to you as a creative and a business owner to provide both to the client. But I didn't want to panic them just yet, because I thought there was still some hope of maybe getting this content back. I've read stories about, you know, how people have managed to get back data that they've deleted through these online tools. So I thought it would be better to try and just stay calm and continue that in the background without them knowing before I actually bring it up as a problem. And there's various escalations to this as well. I mean, first of all, you're thinking, I'm going to be doing this shoot for free. We're going to have to, out of courtesy, that's the best thing to do, is to put yourself in their shoes. Are you going to want to pay someone a few £1,000s or dollars for a shoot if they've just deleted all their content? Now, we've got insurance and that covers that, but that still doesn't help build a healthy relationship between you and the client. So I was thinking, first of all, okay, we're going to do this shoot for free. I'm going to have to own up and tell them that there's been a problem with the card and this has happened. And because we're so far away and we're staying in a hotel to conduct this shoot, we're actually going to see if it's feasible for the client to add 1 more day onto the shoot, so we can then recoup some of that stuff that we had lost. Now, that's a client decision as well. The client might say, no, Ross, sorry, we can't add an extra day on. It's not feasible. We don't have the resources to do that this side. So it creates more of a problem. So it made me think, well, let's just relax for a second. Let's try to just think. Let's give this software a go, and let's see how far down the line we can get before we panic the client. So the client comes in, sure enough, just after me discovering this and just saying, okay, I'm just about to line up the next interview. Is that okay? And I said, like, yep, no problem at all. I'm having a bit of a nightmare backing up this. It's just being really slow at the moment. So it means I can't take any photos at the moment or videos on this camera, but I've still got our main production camera where I can do the interview from. So let's set that up and we'll do that. In the meantime, every time they leave the room, I'm literally running back and forth trying to find some tools online to see if we can recover this data. So first of all, I used a tool called Disk Drill. It is something that just came up in one of my quick Google searches, how to recover data, and it does a free scan for you, and it scanned this card. And what's really important to remember here is when you format a card accidentally or you lose the data or it goes corrupt, don't record anything else onto it. Don't format that card in the camera. Don't do anything to that card. Just leave it exactly as it is, because you don't want it to write data over the top of the data that's lost, if that makes sense. So I plugged the card straight back in without having done anything else, and I started to run Disk Drill, and it sure enough found some of the content, but it said that almost half of it, plus all of the videos that we had shot on that camera, were questionable. So they had question marks over them. It was unsure if it could be recovered. So I thought, well, look, what's the situation here? I either try it or I don't. So I paid the money. I think it was around about $80 for them to run a full scan on it. Paid that. It was running in the background at the same time as I'm managing our clients' expectations. I'm just saying, like, yep, sorry, we're still having problems with that, but I can do this. How about we do this? You know, we've just done the interview now. Let's go and get some clips outside. And I keep running back and forth, just making sure it's still doing its thing. An hour maybe passes by, maybe about half an hour actually, and it's completed the scan. I open it up, and sure enough, I've got most of the images, but none of the videos work. So again, I'm thinking, okay, back to my escalation. I've got a couple of options here. Really, at this point, it's really towards the end of the day now. I either need to tell them and add this onto the, we'll do a free day at the end of the shoot to cover what's missing for whatever reason, and just take that route. Then I remember a friend of mine had a similar situation on set where their card was actually corrupted. They hadn't just deleted it like an idiot. And I asked them if they would mind telling me what that was, and they got straight back to me, and they said they use a software called Card Rescue. By the way, this video isn't sponsored by any of these guys. I kind of wish it was, so if you want to, please reach out. And Card Rescue did the same thing, a free download, scanned it all, but this time round, when I scanned the card, it actually showed me thumbnail images of the videos. It couldn't play them, but it had the thumbnails, which was one step more than the previous software had done. Now this time round, I think it was going to cost, again, around about $100 to do, and I had to ask myself, now it's double or nothing really. I either need to talk to the client about adding on an additional day. A hotel cost is going to cost a similar amount, so let's just try it. And I paid for it, and luckily enough, it actually worked. I managed to get back all of the images. I managed to get back all of the videos as well. So it was a relief that the crisis had been averted, and more importantly, the client was none the wiser. And the huge take home from this is understanding when it's the right time to own up or bring up the problem. Sometimes by just waiting, thinking about things logically, it bought me the time to still manage the shoot, give a reason that was credible as well, in terms of it was just taking a while to back up. Because then if I said it was corrupted, it would lead into that as well. That's probably why it was taking a long time. But actually, it just took a while to back up as far as the client's concerned. I've managed to restore the data, and I've said, great, that card's backed up. I don't know what was taking it so long. Lovely, let's finish off these last few things, and then we'll come back tomorrow for the last day of the shoot. If I had gone straight away with that problem, hey, I think the card's corrupt. I think I've deleted the card. I'm trying to resolve it at the moment. This stuff's just going to have to wait while I figure this out. They're going to be panicking like crazy as well. And two panicking people isn't going to help anyone. And that was a huge take home from that. I've never been in that situation before in my life. I hope I'm never in it again. And moral of the story is probably don't be cheap. I instantly went to the shop, spent 15 quid on another USB adapter where now I can have it back the card straight up to our hard drive, and we won't be having those problems. And even more simply, if you're deleting anything off your computer when you've got a card plugged in, don't do it. Unplug the card, then remove everything that you need to delete from your computer, and then plug the card back in. These are such rookie mistakes, but they happen, and I hope that this video has kind of showcased my thought process, mainly how I handled the situation and how I managed to recover the data using those tools. So if you find yourself in a situation where you have deleted your client's content, I definitely would suggest taking a look at Disk Drill or Card Rescue, because Card Rescue was the one that actually worked in my case as well, and ended up being, you know, worth the money. So I hope I never make a video like this again in my lifetime, but I'm glad we resolved it. We got the content back, the client was happy, we were happy, and it just cost us a few $100s on software. So anyway, let me know in the comments below, actually, have you done this? Am I literally the only idiot in the world that has done this? Or let me know. I want to hear some stories. What situations have you been in where you've been in a similar situation that, yeah, something's gone wrong on set? I'd love to know, so I feel like I'm not alone. Anyway, I really appreciate it, guys. Hope you found some useful information in this. If you want to see some more cool videos, then take a look at this one. YouTube recommends it, so I think you'll like it.